sure what the relevance is. The commitment we've made today, we can comfortably honour. Whether there's further money available will depend on the state.
What's the state of the loan book now in terms of arrears and capitalising interest?
Well, from the date of the moratorium, there was no interest capitalised, obviously. You mean?
No.
I'll say it the other way. Right.
So, in terms of
I think that there's a fair bit of detail in the PwC report around what they think of the loan book, of the asset book. We think that the asset book is of good enough quality to enable us to meet this program. I think that you'll find in the PwC reports that they would think that we're more optimistic about the loan book than they are, but that's their job. They've got to take a view that says, what are the downsides here, and they've done that. So I think that you might want to have a look at the PwC report, have a look at our view, and compare it to their view, and you'll see sort of a range of scenarios, a range of assumptions, a range of different views. As Mark said, we don't know what we don't know. We've got a quality book of assets. We're working with borrowers. We're working with property owners on a daily basis, and our lending team is doing a great job in respect of that. Things change on a daily basis. Things get better. Things get worse.
Are there any particular projects where there's a contingency that we should know about in the next year or two, for example, that needs to be completed, or there's some other lender who's got some first priority on it, or anything like that?
There's no other first priorities.
You'll see from the June 30 accounts that are available on the website today that we've taken provisions across the book. That's as you would expect. It's normal. We've taken both specific provisioning and we've taken collective provisioning. And look, in a business like ours, we'll look at that on a regular basis. That's part of our job, and we'll continue to do that.
Why have you decided to continue lending at a later date rather than simply running down the book?
Part of the purpose behind this is to still have a going concern, still come out with the business at the end of this. So it's very important to us. We also think it helps us maximise the return. There's some very good lending opportunities out there at the moment. There's no money around, as we all know. So that'll help us achieve 100 cents on the dollar, which is our target.
So you're going to continue lending into this market?
Yes.
At an appropriate time, Bernard. As we've said, that we've got a significant set of protocols that have been agreed with the trustees. It's first mortgage lending. If we are able to lend, as I said earlier on, we must have quarantined the next 6 months of the venture holder payments before we can lend. We can only lend to certain levels. There will be certain LVR levels that are maintained. At this point in time, we wouldn't expect to be doing anything significant in this area for the next 18 months.
Could the lending include lending more to the existing borrowers that you have?
It could.
If it passes those tests that Peter described.
It's got to pass the tests.
And it would have to be on enhanced security. It can't go back.
So I think the message in relation to future lending is that it's tightly prescribed. It is highly unlikely to occur in the short term. It's designed to be there in the medium term, such that as the market recovers and we have sufficient cash, the ability to transition into an ongoing business is maintained.
I wonder if we might ask if there are any questions from callers on the phone.
Yes, I have been.
Yeah.
How's it going, guys?
Very well, thank you.
Hey, just on that subject of lending in the future, how dependent is a return of 100 cents on the dollar? How much does that depend on you guys lending again profitably?
The cash flows that have been produced go into some detail around this. We haven't put huge emphasis on it. It probably has a swing of about 10%.
a swing of 10%. Can you just sort of...
Sorry, over the 5-year period, the additional amount earned from re-lending would be, I think, circa 40 million.
Yeah, it's about not quite 10% of the total $500 million that we have to repay.
Okay.
There is some detail in the pack around the likely timeframes, cash flows, availability, and what might be earned off that. It would be very low risk lending.
Okay, and 100%, 100% of the dollar repayment is obviously predicated on some kind of recovery in the markets that you're involved in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think if the market stayed exactly as it is over the 5 years, then the task would be very hard.
When do you expect a bounce back? What are your assumptions in here for when the market recovers?
Partly it's built around mainly it's built around what's the realistic time frame to be able to get out of existing exposures, whether it's once they're complete and sold or refinanced or improvement in the market. So it does rely a little bit on improvement in the market, partially it relies on projects getting to the end. We're not banking on a huge change in the market. However, when this plan was started 3 months ago, the market was somewhat better. Now we've refined it a little on the way through, but it's got worse. So if it continued to get worse, it would be problematic. It doesn't need to be a particularly strong new market, but we would need to see it moving.
Can I get an idea of the exercise in democracy you're trying to achieve with this vote? What proportion of that 16,000 or 70,000 are secured depositors, unsecured depositors? You mentioned that there's a bit of a sweetener in there for those that get nothing under receivership. How big a block are they?
Yeah, they're very small, the capital bond holders. We've got the details on that here. So I think there's 123 of them.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but not people voting based on their shareholding or based on the commitment you have to share numbers.
Yeah. So what we've got here is we've got 13,500 odd depositors in Hanover. We've got 2,500 depositors in United. Each of these we need 50% of the voters to make a quorum at the meeting of December the 9th. And then of those attending and voting at the meeting or attending by proxy, we need 75% voting for the transaction for it to be accepted. If there is no quorum available at the meeting on December the 9th, then the meeting will be adjourned to December the 23rd, at which point any proxies held and any people attending will constitute the quorum and the vote will take place. So there you can see that there's about 120 odd subordinated note holders and 1,100 preferential bond holders in HCL. The only two really that are linked to each other here are the Hanover Finance and the United Finance votes. So each is all three of the United Finance, the Hanover Finance Subordinated and the Hanover Capital are conditional on the Hanover Finance being approved. The Hanover Finance one is conditional upon United Finance being approved, so that's really the only condition for the Hanover Finance one. The Hanover Finance and United Finance can proceed without the other two.
You've said in here that the access companies are subject, the transfer of access companies are subject to receipt of third-party consents. In the event these third parties are not available, access will use its best endeavours to deliver the third-party consents, and how confident are you that you'll get these?